Thanks for coming back for another episode of Pro Audio Deal or Disaster, the series where we look at online listings for pro audio equipment and sound systems and talk about the deals and the asking price and share stories about the gear if we've used it in the past. And my favorite part of these videos are always the stories you share in the comments below. So if you have any experience with any of the gear, please feel free. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Got a very confusing listing here, just the video and one photo. They've listed it at $1,800 for EAW 850 concert live sound speakers. And the listing says that they are in used good condition. I have 4 3-way EAW tops, only asking $1,000 now for all 4 tops or best offer in New Roads, Louisiana. So check those out. They seem to be in okay shape from the front angle here, but I wish he had have included a few more pictures or details to go off of. So how does 4 EAW 850s for only $1,000 sound? Is anybody out there looking for 850s these days? Oops, so it looks like 4 months ago somebody asked, does anybody still use KF 850s on Reddit's live sound page? Did anybody answer that? Let's see. Thanks, my back hurts now. They're so heavy, they have their own gravitational field, but they do sound good for guitar rock. Company I worked for this weekend uses them for parade floats. Right on. I slipped a disc reading this post. Oh boy. It looks like, let's see, is this a real listing? $350 for one through Gear Supply? Is that a legit? Oh, when you try to navigate away from their website, it does this spammy nonsense of not letting you. Oh, I hate that. Someone's offering one for, oh no, this is ended, but was on offer for $1,000 out of Tennessee. Not sure. Okay, that was 4 years ago, so I don't know how relevant that. 10K used gear? Never heard of this website either. They've got 12 of them, $1,000 a piece, it looks like. Oh no, prices per speaker, with a dolly included when purchased in pairs. So yeah, maybe 3 for $1,000 is a fair deal, but again, you got to be able to move them. Here's another complete PA system. We're in Clarksville, Tennessee. This one says it's ready to gig. It's a complete pro PA system. They've reduced it from $6,500 down to $5,500 in only 2 weeks. You take a look at the photos and I'll read the description. Fully wired professional PA system. Plug in and perform. Many more photos, just ask. Includes an Allen & Heath mixer, QSC subs, speakers, Sennheiser mics, radial DIs, Rode cases, and all cables. Perfect turnkey setup for bands, DJs, or churches. And that's a QU16 we just saw go by there. Yep, there you go. Looks like it's in very nice shape. Everybody loves the Allen & Heath desks, whether or not you like this series or some of their other stuff. It seems like everybody really enjoys seeing their stuff when you run into it on gigs. And what else do we have here? That's a nice little case for everything. You got some rack space down the front for your wireless gear. You got your mixer mounted up top. I used to have a case very similar to this, and I loved it. Up here, we've got a Surgex power strip. We've got some Sennheiser antenna distro, and we've got some wireless mic receivers here in the 500 megahertz range. And then we've got a big drawer, presumably full of wireless microphones and maybe some antennas. And then we've got another, this looks like it might be a battery backup down the bottom. And I was wrong with that assumption. This is just a rack mount power distro unit from Middle Atlantic, who are now Legrand AV. Yeah, there's the QSC subs with covers. Very nice. Look like the covers are in good condition. They don't look that old. Even the wheels don't look that old. And the speakers look like they're in very nice condition so far. Oh, hang on. Hang about. What do we have here? This is a 1 QSC K12. They only have one of these. Oh, what? What is going on here? What is this listing? We just took a hard left turn out of like a really cool listing into a what in the world is happening. So there are 2 K subs, which we've just looked at there. And then there's one single QSC K12 that looks like somebody beat the hell out of it. Like, what happened there? And why is there only one of them? It looks fine otherwise, just needs that grill replaced, or hopefully it's all still functional and the LED still works, but it certainly needs to be opened up and to be assessed. And then one single Alto TS312 powered speaker, which I hope they didn't have some sort of incident where both of the K12s got damaged and they just replaced the really damaged one with this random Alto speaker. Because that'd be a real shame to run this system, which is otherwise pretty nice, with mismatched tops. And mismatched, like this is pretty mismatched, right? Maybe they were just running one main, a K12, and then the Alto's the monitor wedge. Maybe the Alto's the main and the K12 is the monitor and somebody stood on it. I don't know. What a mystery. We get a couple of handhelds. We get one wired and two wireless. And then our other two wireless microphones must be... Okay, yeah, so two body packs. You get a headset and a lav. See, I wonder what this system was being used for. Maybe a very small church? I don't know. It's a weird... So I don't know anybody that would spring the money for radial stereo JDI direct boxes and go for an Alto TS speaker. Like, that's a wild combination. So yeah, those radial JDI stereo direct boxes are $400 a piece new, and I think that Alto TS312 was only like $200 something new as a speaker. So unusual combo, kind of incomplete system in my mind. You really need to address those tops. Like, you've got subs, you got a bunch of other stuff that's serviceable, but those tops are a disaster. So maybe just a new grill, best case scenario on the QSC K12. But yeah, I think that's an interesting looking system for $5,500. Certainly in the condition it's in, it seems worth a look if you're in the market for any of this stuff. I wonder if there's some room for negotiation and maybe just take the pair of top speakers out of the deal. But yeah, $5,500 in Clarksville, Tennessee. What do you reckon on that one? I hope some of you folks are more familiar with Dynacord Cobra 2 systems than I am, because this looks like a very interesting system and I would love to hear your opinions. I'll read it while you check out the photos. $6,900 reduced down from $7,900, and we're in Arlington, Tennessee. And they say, great PA is in good working order with original drivers and cosmetically is in good condition. It has been used and maintained by a professional production company. The Turnkey system comes with 4 subs, 4 tops, 2 amps, 1 amp rack, and 1 audio processor. We have 3 systems available. Optional accessories include Genie fly bars, aiming wedges, extra rack CP84 panels. We can deliver within a 2-hour radius of Memphis and provide a demo of the systems. And then they go on with the manufacturer's description there about the different components that are available. So let's keep going through the photos, and it certainly does look like it was maintained and put together very nicely. It's a really clean-looking system, very clean front and back, very obvious. You could walk up to this system. I love these kinds of patch panels where if you've never worked for this company before and you had to fill in for them, they got stuff labeled. You don't have to wonder what crazy, bizarre color scheme they've implemented or what, internal policies they have in their shop about wiring panels. They've just labeled it. Seems pretty obvious to me, and I love that. So I'm going to look at these while I flick through them one more time since I was reading there, and it looks like a little bit of, you can see a little bit of wear maybe on the cabinets, but nothing out of the ordinary. Certainly looks like this system has been maintained well. Yeah, I'd probably want to repaint the grills, which is, totally normal, and maybe even repaint the cabinets. I'm not familiar with these amplifiers, but I'm assuming they weigh a decent amount, but I love this amp rack. It's super clean. The only thing I would probably want to add on an amp rack like this is maybe some sort of lighting in the rack and a courtesy outlet somewhere for just power. That's always handy to have on any sort of rack, especially one where you've got a processor in. And yeah, again, a little bit of touch up on the cabinet paint, repaint the grills, and I think you would be down the road with a pretty nice looking system. I was able to find a couple of photos on eBay of a system for sale where they're actually flown for anybody that has not seen one of these systems deployed overhead. And as it currently stands at the time of filming, Dynacord is part of the same family of companies with Electrovoice, Telex, and Bosch.
I don't believe it.
So if you've got experience with a Dynacord system of this, size and scale. Let me know what you think of how they have this set up. If this looks like a system that you could just take out and, connect up and run, or if there's something that you would do, differently to make this a much more usable setup. But overall, really nice looking system, and they've got some accessories, like they said, fly bars and aiming wedges and things like that. So pretty neat. And they're willing to demo it, which is a rare thing on a Facebook Marketplace sound system. $6,900 only in Arlington, Tennessee. Is that a bargain in Tennessee? Is that a bargain anywhere for a Dynacord Cobra 2 system? I'm trying to learn more about these systems and valuations, but it's down to the folks that comment. And thank you so much if you've left a comment in the past with, a memory of, your experience buying some of this stuff, because it really is hard to find the prices of what some of this stuff costs. Even the modern stuff, like not all the manufacturers publish their pricing. So this one is nothing special as far as gear goes. It's just a couple of XLS amplifiers, but the way they have put this together to transport them is quite interesting. Check this out. They've mounted 2 of them in a pull behind tote, like one of these black totes. I think it has wheels on one side of it. I don't know if they actually show the wheels or if I'm just imagining. Oh yeah, there you go. So a Blue Hawk tote. One of these kind of utility bins. I think the Blue Hawk series of totes like this are discontinued now at Lowe's, but the similar ones from Craftsman are over $100. I don't know if he'd be too much cheaper than just buying a 4-space rack. They got a power strip mounted. They've bent some aluminum up here, made a couple of rack positions, braced it even, pull your cables in and out. Only $300, tote included. And that's in South Bend, Indiana. Back in North Carolina, and if you've watched this series before, I love a good trailer sound system. We're right at $20,000, reduced down from $25,000 in Wake Forest. Starting off, we've got a Midas Venice 320, and those were a very popular board for a time. And this listing also does include this 16-foot long by 7-foot wide trailer, which is very important. That's a dual axle trailer. So for that $20,000, you're not just getting the sound system, you're getting the whole package. The trailer looks to be in decent condition there. Obviously, one of the most important things with any sort of trailer system like this is just making sure that the thing is and has been watertight. And we've got a SKB 12-slot microphone box with a... Oh, he lists out some of the microphones here. So there's a CAD drum microphone package. There's an MXL 990 condenser mic in there. Looks like an SM57 or 2, whether or not they're genuine. Let's see if we see any more photos. There's an AKG D112 floating around in the bottom there loose. We've got a 24x4 stage snake there, some SRX 728s. Is that what those are?
This is your opinion?
It does look like the listing includes 4 of the SRX 728 as well as the 4 of the SR 4733X tops, which are not shown in the pictures. Then on our drive rack, we've got a Behringer Composer Pro. We've got 2 DBX 1231. Those are the long throw 31 band, just run-of-the-mill basic entry-level DBX EQ. Nothing super fancy there. Then we've got a patch panel, look like some inputs and some speak-on outputs. Lexicon Alex multi-effects. Again, this was kind of an entry-level unit from them on the multi-effects. And then a Crest audio amplifier in this rack, and it says we get 2 of these CA9, so this is just one of those, although we look like we could use a couple more screws for that amplifier. That thing's hanging on for dear life. I don't usually mind if you only throw one screw in a single rack unit like a compressor. That's, one screw aside is totally, fine for some applications there, but on a big amplifier like this, geez, you got enough screws here. Maybe yank a couple of those out and get that in there before it bends the rack ears off of it. Then the other rack here, it looks like we've got another input-output panel, pretty basic. We've got a DBX crossover, again, their entry-level series there, the 223 DBX. Yeah, just a basic 2-channel, 3-way. And then Macrotech amps, 3600 and a 5002. Now, they've put these amps in a shock-mounted rack, which I don't think is super necessary. These Macrotechs can survive anything. And what's more important is to keep the foam clean and keep them free of dust, and blow them out every so often and make sure that they're running cool and give them space to breathe rather than necessarily worrying about shock mounting them. But that's going to be a very heavy rack with those down in the bottom. So yeah, there are multiples of these Macrotechs in this system. There's the other CA9, there's another 3600, another 5002, and again, I would be concerned that these haven't been cleaned. Those foam filters look absolutely chock full of dust. We get a drive rack, and I don't know if this is the same. Oh yeah, another crossover. So there's a backup crossover to this drive rack, which is always a smart thing. If you're using a drive rack like this to run a basic PA system, it's very smart to have an analog crossover on hand or in each rack, one for each side of the system, depending on how you're doing it. So if your drive rack happens to give up on you, or somehow loses all its parameters at the last second, whatever it is, you can have a hardware solution set up to take over, and you can patch into that and keep the show going. There's the SRX 725 tops, and they look to be an okay, well, I don't know. It looks like the top here is pretty severely bashed and chipped, and they certainly need to be resprayed, but that's not super unusual. JBL's grills and their paint are pretty terrible, especially on this series. I know some folks that keep their gear in excellent condition, and the grills still rust. And then we've got an Allen & Heath GL, what are we looking, GL 2200 here, with a very basic non-doghouse case. So, simple, basic analog console, no frills at all there. Much like everything we're seeing in the system, like this will get you going and it'll probably rip and get pretty loud, but there's nothing fancy going on. And again, your bog standard Yamaha S115V monitor wedge, carpet covered, and there's the Yamaha S215V carpet covered tops. And we're back around to the Midas Venice series. So we didn't get to see the Community XLT 47s, or did we see an Ashley EQ in there somewhere? And a Behringer Multigate Pro. I don't know if I saw those. No. So there's another rack, presumably, and some more equipment as well. And everything has that kind of, North Carolina stored in a trailer look to it. Just a, hint of rust on almost everything, which is unfortunate. But certainly a system that, with some maintenance and some care and a little bit of, cleaning, could be quite decent for someone. I don't know about 20 grand, but with the trailer, you'd really want to see everything that's included and get in person with these to see just how bad these cabinets are, and if these SRX 725s are salvageable, or if they're in really dodgy condition, and that's why there's not really many photos of them. You can see even in this photo there's a lot of wear on the speaker cabinets, and everything just looks like it's either lived in a bar or been in and out of a lot of bars. You can take a look at the whole list now on the right-hand side. I'll give you a couple of moments here. You can pause on this part of it, and now I'll scroll down so you can see everything that's listed down to the trailer there. And, custom-made power distribution. I don't think that was shown. That's always exciting. So if not 20 grand, leave it down in the comments what you would offer on a turnkey, potentially turnkey trailer full of equipment like this. I thought it would be fun to include another line array system that I have absolutely no personal experience with, and hopefully some of you can let us know what we're looking at as far as quality. We're in Flint, Michigan here, marked from $15,000 down to $10,500 on a VTC elevation system. 8 of the EL210T boxes, 4 of the ELS 212, plus DLM S4080. Not sure what that is. Carts, dollies, Flint, Michigan. We got a couple of photos, and I'll read the description. So we know it's a VTC elevation line array. Their price is $10,500 or best offer for the complete bundle, or they're willing to split it up, and they'll split 8 of the EL210T with carts and dollies for $8,500, or 4 of the ELS 212s with dollies for $3,000, and the DLMS 4080 for $600. So, and that comes with factory presets for this system. So $600 on that, $3,000 on the 212 subs, and then $8,500 on the rack of 8 tops. There they are, up close. Good photography, to be fair, on this listing. They've done a good job of taking good pictures. It looks like it's a well-maintained system. Not sure what these weigh. They look heavy to me, but that's just me looking at them, though, so I'll see if I can pull up a spec sheet on these boxes. All gear was tested in October of this year. No rubs or scrapes on the drivers. All the high-frequency drivers are working, and no faults in the DSP. Typical cosmetic wear from light local use. The grills are all straight, and the badging is intact. Located in Flint, Michigan. Local pickup preferred, but they can put it on pallets for a freight carrier if you arrange that. And they're willing to take cash, wire, or Venmo. And then they just include the factory specs there. But there's the system. Outdoors, set up here at an amphitheater. Ground stacked. Hopefully there's a slope here to the amphitheater and they're, firing into a shallow hill. But yeah, it looks like we're just talking about the VTC elevation rig, not the whole turnkey PA system. So 10.5 for 8 boxes of the tops, 4 boxes of the subs, and some dollies and stuff. I honestly have no clue what these would have cost new, so if you have ever seen prices on these, let us know. And they came down from $15,000 to $10,500 in 3 weeks, so they're coming down rapidly. They dropped a third of their price in under a month, so I don't know if they're just super motivated, maybe they need to just get rid of them for some reason or another, or if these really don't have the value they were asking for initially. It would be nice to see that processor they were going on and on about. I'll see if I can pull up a picture of the DLMS 4080. Okay, so this looks like a rebadged Zilliqa processor, and they OEM'd these. I had one, I can't even remember what the actual manufacturer's name was on the front of it, but they OEM these for a lot of different people. And I think if we look at the back of the newer version here, and yeah, we can see these were made in Toronto for Yorkville sound. So definitely a rebadged Zilliqa 4080 or a newer version of the 4080. That's the one there that I had before USB was added to them. And this is the one that was put out with this system for Yorkville. So very interesting. But unfortunately, no amplifiers in this system. Are these powered boxes? I should probably look that up, huh? No, these are definitely not active. So yeah, these are 89-pound boxes each for these little 210 boxes. And that's not crazy, but certainly not going to win any awards. A single one of their bumpers that they sell can fly 18 of these boxes. So yeah, let me know what you think if you've ever used Yorkville's VTC line array of any flavor, not just this 210 system. And if you think 10.5 is reasonable for 8 tops and 4 of these subs. I wonder how often they've had this system out, honestly, and if they have ever flown it or if they've just used it ground stacked. Because I've come across a number of folks who have bought line arrays of this scale and never flown them. They just stack them up like this. We got another complete sound system. This time we are in Russellville, Alabama for $8,500, marked down from $10,000, but it's been listed for 26 weeks, and this first photo is not very promising. Oh man, the details aren't very promising either. I'll scroll and read. 10 Trasher speakers? Is that actually what Mackie is calling their speakers now? And it sure does look like they have a Thrash series. That's Thrash with 2 H's. 4 subs and mixer, microphones, lights and cords, $8,500 firm or best offer, no trades, serious inquiries only, selling whole, will not separate. What do we think about a QU32 with masking tape on it, though? So, man, these things are multiplying. And again, we've got a couple of bashed-in grills. What are those? Some LED lights, it looks like. A couple of SM58s. $8,500 seems very, very ambitious for this collection of stuff. I can't imagine anybody's going to be too excited to have 10 of these. $8,500 firm or best offer. That's not how that works. I mean, you can't write firm and then put or best offer right after it. I think we have an idea why this has been up on the market for 26 weeks. We got one more trailer system here, and this one looks like it's got some interesting homebrew stuff going on, at least in this first rack here. Got some Crest amplifiers, some QSC amps. I'll flick through the photos and read the description. Music, live, gig, DJ system, plus support training for sale or trade / financing, ? $5,400. And we're in Edmond, Oklahoma. This listing is a little Looney Tunes here, so bear with me as I read the various things they've written. Here we go. This is a band / DJ gig expanding opportunity. Read through bottom. For sale or trade. Possible short-term financing. Selling a sound system that can be used for remote events and or parked outside your club's stage door. Don't know what that's supposed to mean. System will include one Behringer X16 rack mixer. Price includes acquisition of a used X16. I've never seen that before. So they're selling this system with a mixer they don't have. They're just including the price of buying a used one in the price of this system at $5,400. I'm dying. I can't believe that's actually what they wrote. The first thing in the listing is a mixer they don't own. Price includes acquisition of a used mixer. That's brilliant. Next up, we've got an Electro Voice EQ being used as a crossover for the highs and mains. Now, if you're not sure why this is a bad idea, there's got to be a video on YouTube somebody's made. But yeah, this is not a good idea. Next up, we've got a QSC RMX 850 amplifier. I'd assume that's the one down here in the bottom of the picture. With new pots powering 2 Dietz horns for highs. Okay, and we're into the homebrew cabinets here. So those are your highs. Then you got your 12-inch mains there. Then you got your 15-inch EV lows. And there's a Crest CA6 for those. And then the CA9 goes for the 2 JBL 18-inch subs. It says all of the amps are in a roll-around rack. Both speaker stacks are mounted to rolling platforms for ease of setup. System comes with 16 mic cords plus speaker cords. There are no mics, but I have mics to get you started. What? There are no mics, but I have... So there are mics. Either there are mics or there are not mics. You can't say there's no mics, but you have mics to get you started. What does that mean? Price includes a 7 by 10 foot box trailer that you can leave amp rack inside. It never leaves the trailer. Just plug in the speakers. So it sounds more like that's a requirement that you have to leave the amp rack inside. But maybe not. Since it's in a roll around rack, you would think you could take it out. It never leaves trailer. Just plug in speakers. Trailer has a ramp. Just roll speakers into place. Mixer will operate off your iPad type device. No snake needed. That's the mixer he doesn't have, because the mixer that he does have is a Mackie like 1604. This is how he's got the speakers arranged. I hope that's not how he sets them up to use them, but it looks like hand-wired panels in the back there for inputs and outputs. I don't think we get a look at that. There's the trailer, which, my goodness, they have not spent any money on pressure washing. Let me see what else this listing says. So the trailer has a ramp, so on and so forth. We will assist in setup and training if you need it. We know a few sound people that can be hired until you get this skill developed. Trailer is in Texas and needs to be retrieved. Oh, good. So he doesn't have the trailer either. He is in Oklahoma, and the trailer needs to be retrieved. So this is turning into a quest. Price here also $5,400 includes, wait for it, a new set of tires. So you get a new set of tires because that trailer that needs to be retrieved is sitting on flats and probably hasn't moved in decades. Price comes with, here's the real extras and amenities that you're going to want to break your checkbook out for. Ongoing startup support for 30 days. Number 2, I have replacement amps and speakers in case anything fails. We can keep system running till your amp speaker is repaired. No downtime. You don't hear about service like that anymore. We will share business ideas and approaches to getting more gigs. We did this approach in Austin before I chose retirement. Okay, so he's retired, out of the business, had enough of this trailer and sound system malarkey, but somehow the sound system and the trailer got separated. That's interesting. And again, possible short short-term financing. So if you got a couple dollars, maybe you give him some money, and if you can return with the trailer in one piece, maybe make some payments along the way or something, or who knows. We will transport and assist in setup for a small fee till you own system. System will be released when paid for. Oh, so these are the financing terms. I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were into the financing terms already. So if you do the short-term financing, you pay them, and they will bring the system and assist you in setting it up, assuming they've got the trailer and it's all got the wheels back on it and everything's good, and they've bought this mixer. They will be your sound company, essentially. You're doing a rent-to-buy deal here, and they'll bring it out to you and help you set it up until you know what you're doing. And then once you're paid for, you get the system, you can presumably hitch it up to your hot rod there and head on down the road and part ways. Also, a mono system is available. We got a twist here for only $4,900. No CA4 or QSE amp. Huh. For sale or trade, we will consider trade options. Okay. Electric model trains. And that's funny because I know a few sound people who have interests and involvement in the model train world. So that's interesting. He might actually have some success there. A livestock trailer. Interesting. A car hauler or other instruments. I've never been to Edmond, Oklahoma myself, but let me know if you think that's a fair deal for $5,400, and if you'd be willing to take on the challenge of locating the trailer and replacing the tires and buying a used mixer and all of that good stuff and getting trained up by this gentleman on how to run a successful sound company.